Okay, good morning, Team Impact. We are going to continue our path in that packet that I passed out yesterday. It looks like this. Did a couple problems with you out of this one. Your homework last night, and the answer key was in Schoology, was this page. So if you had any questions, hopefully the practice showed you. Today we're moving on to this page, lesson 8, homework practice. And today what we're going to be getting into uh, is dividing a whole number and a mixed number, a simple fraction and a mixed number, and a mixed and a mixed. Okay, so so what we're going to do is we're going to start with this page, and then we're going to have the back of it for homework. Okay, and this is a little bit jammed up, so we're going to kind of do this one together. We're going to skip one because I don't really want to waste paper and use another sheet, and we could be fine here. Okay, so just like multiplying mixed numbers, when we divide mixed numbers, what we have to do is we have to get them to an improper fraction. So I'm going to go ahead and start with that. Number one. 2 divided by 3 and 2/3. Okay, so what I'm going to do to 3 and 2/3 is I'm going to switch it. 3 times 3 is 9, 10, 11. Oh, my pencil broke. Is 11/3. Okay, so this equals that. And I'm going to put 2 over 1. And then I'm going to rewrite it. I'm going to change the sign and reciprocate that, just like yesterday. So it's going to be 2 over 1 times 3/11. I reciprocated, excuse me, or flipped that second fraction. 2 times 3 is 6. 1 times 11 is 11. And we end up with 6/11. Okay? Remember, we always reciprocate the second fraction. All right? So take that in. There was no factoring here, right? There was no cross canceling. We're going to skip 2 for space, and we're going to go to number 3. 4 and 3/4 divided by 7/8. Okay. First thing I'm going to do is come over here and I'm going to change this to a mixed. 4 times 4 is 16 plus 3 is 19/4. So this equals this. And I'm going to rewrite 19/4, change the sign, and remember I'm going to flip that second fraction. Now, on this problem, we do have an opportunity to cancel out. And I'm going to cancel out the 4 and the 8. 4 goes into 4 once. 4 goes into 8 twice. Okay? 7 and 19 and 7 and 2 are not compatible, so let's multiply through. 19 times 2 is 38. 1 times 7 is 7. Okay? And that 7 will go into that 5 times. 7 times 5, watch how I do this, is 35. 38 minus 35 is 3/7. That's the mental way to do it. If you have trouble with that, take 38 and divide it by 7. 7 will go into this 5 times, is 35. Subtract and get 3. Okay? 3 is our numerator, and our denominator doesn't change. So we get the same answer there. Okay. How you feeling so far? Okay. All right. Let's jump to number 5. We have 7.5 divided by 1 1/4. Okay. So I'm actually going to come underneath here and rewrite these as improper fractions. And you notice I left that division because I didn't reciprocate. Okay. Now I'm just going to come over here and write equals 15 over 2, change the sign, and I'm going to flip that second fraction. All right. So top to bottom combination, anything that ends in a 5 or a 0 is divisible by 5. 5 goes into 5 once, 5 goes into that 3 times. 2 goes into 2 once, 2 goes into that twice. 3 times 2 is 6 over 1, which equals 6. Okay? We're going to skip number 6. Okay? So looking at this problem, I changed both of these two impropers. I rewrote it over here. I changed the sign to multiplication and reciprocated. I factored out a 5. I factored out a 2, and I ended up with 6 over 1. Okay. Let's take a peek at number 8. 4.5. Well, 4.5 equals 9 over 2. Remember, multiply and add. Let's keep it division, and let's do 27 tenths. Now, I want to warn you, some of you are going to try and do all of this, change the sign and reciprocate at once. Okay? That's a lot to do in one phase, and I don't recommend that. I'm going to rewrite 9 seconds, change the sign, and I'm going to reciprocate that second fraction. Okay. Top to bottom combination. Boy, we have a lot of canceling out to do. This is fun. 2 goes into 2 once. 2 goes into 10 5 times. What about 9 and 27? Are they compatible? Sure are. I know 9 times 3 is 27, but also there's a rule for 9 to see if 9 goes into a number. If you add these two up, 2 plus 7 is 9. Does 9? Yes, 9 goes into 9. See, there's a mental divisibility rule. 9 goes into 9 once. 9 goes into this 3 times. 5 over 3, which equals 1 2/3. So those were 4 good samples, all right, of taking a look at it. We're going to actually, jump down to number 9, okay? Number 9 reads, suppose a hurricane traveled 130 miles from a point in the Atlantic Ocean to Florida coastline in 6.5 hours. How many miles per hour did this? Well, there's a formula for this. It's called distance equals rate times time. Okay. So you get your distance by taking your rate, how fast it goes, by the time. But the problem is we're looking for, all right, the rate. We have the time. So we kind of have to work backwards. And we could set this up algebraically, but really there's no reason to. So what we're going to do is take our distance of 130 miles and we're going to divide it by 6.5. Okay. All right. This is just kind of the start of it. I'm going to put that over 1, and I'm going to rewrite it as 130 over 1. Keep it division, and that equals 13, what? Seconds. And then I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to rewrite it as 130 over 1, change the sign to multiplication, and reciprocate that second fraction. Now we're looking for top to bottom combinations. I changed the sign and I flipped it. There it is. 13 times 10 is 130. You see that just by multiplying it by 10, we add a 0. So 13 into 13 once, 13 into 130 10 times. So 10 times 2 is 20 over 1, which equals 20. 20 what? Miles per hour. Okay. So if you drive at 20 miles per hour at a rate, that's your, at 20 miles per hour is your rate, for a time of 6.5 hours, you would go 130 miles. That's where that formula pops in. Let's do one more, and let's do number 11. Number 11. A truck driver drove 300 miles in 6 3/4 hours. How many miles per hour did the truck driver drive? Again, distance will equal rate times time. And let's plug in some numbers here a little bit. If I have the distance of 300 miles, right, and I'll label it at the end. Let's label it so we can keep the numbers clean. Okay, equals, all right, if I have the time, 6 3/4 hours, we're looking for miles per hour, which is what we call rate. This is what we call an equation. This side will equal this side. So, with that being said, all right, to get the distance, I would take these two numbers and multiply them each other. But I don't have that. So I have to do the inverse or the opposite operation. So what I'm going to do is take 300 and divide it by 6 3/4. I'm going to put 300 over 1, keep it division, and 24 and 3 is 27/4. Okay. Now, I'm going to rewrite this again. It's a lot of work, but that's the process. Don't get in a hurry. It's 300 over 1 times 4 27s. Top to bottom combinations. All right. So there's remember the mental divisibility rule I told you about 9 by adding the sum of the digits. Well, this is 9 and that's 3. So 9 doesn't go into that, but it will go into that. But guess what? That same rule works for 3. Does 3 go into 9? Yes. 3 plus 0 is 3. So 3 will go into both of those actually. So let's divide it by 3. 300 divided by 3 is 100. This divided by 3 is 9. Now we have some more manageable numbers here, right? So we have 9. Nothing else will reduce. So I have 400 over 9. I just multiplied that through. This is a bigger one, so I'm going to come down here. We're not going to do 12. So I'm going to go ahead and show my work down here and divide this out. Okay. 9 into 40, 4 times. 4 times 9 is 36. Subtract and get 4. Bring down the 0. 9 fours are 36. Subtract and get 4. So 4 is our numerator and our denominator won't change. So we're going to end up with 44 and 4 ninths. It's a rate, so let's label that correctly. How many miles per hour? So if I take my miles per hour and I multiply it by my time, I would get that. And that's how that works. All right, let's chat about your homework. So if we flip the page, I want you to complete this page back here. There's 9 problems, plenty of room for your work. Okay, there's a sample up here for you to look at, and plus all the work that we just did. Okay, guys, have a great day. I'll see you.